brand new video. I am going to discipline myself. And not discipline, I'm just going to make it a priority. I've been quite off schedule when it comes to posting and filming and editing videos, and I do apologize for that, but it has been incredibly busy by the end of the year, and I don't know when this video will go. Maybe it's going to go out in the new year, but right now I'm filming in December and I still have a lot of backlog footage to post, and even in that backlog footage I'm talking about how incredibly behind I am with posting. So I hope you understand that, but we'll get started. I have a lot of items to share, and I'm a little bit afraid because I'm going to be posting all these videos and I don't want it to appear as though I've bought everything at one time, so I just want to preface that. But I'm not sure what order I'll be posting in, but I will maybe give you a little bit of an idea of collections and all that, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I have, this is in continuation with my Paris purchases. I don't know right now as of yet if I've posted even the vlog that I've done, or if I've posted the unboxings yet. I'm going to make sure that I post those before I push this video out, and then I'll link the video there. But I did make a purchase there. It's not like I couldn't have bought it here, but you know, with Chanel, buy now or regret later, because usually the prices go up. And this is something that I did have on my wish list for quite some time now. I didn't bite the bullet. I had the opportunity to purchase this item many times before, but I always kind of pushed it off. And when I was in Paris, they had this item there. It was the white classic flap. When I went to Paris, I purchased if you remember, a classic flap, and it was in the small size. And you know, it's I do have a small actually currently. Again, I don't know if I've put that video up or if I'll put it up later, and if I do, or if I have, I will link that video here. But as you know, I mostly am a medium classic flap girl, so I purchased a small in the white. Well, we'll just get straight into the unboxing because that's what people are here for. But anyway, this is the Christmas packaging. I don't have a camellia on the bag, and I'm thinking maybe they've been running out, and that's okay. But this is the ribbon. It's a little bit more impressive than years past, especially last year. It's not like a glittery mess. It's actually like, you know, it's like a paint on there. So that's kind of nice. It's nice to have good Christmas packaging, although I do really like the one from 2019 a lot better. I think it was 2019 or 2018. Gosh, time's flying by. But anyway, here's the box, and we'll do a little thumbnail. This is the Christmas packaging. And technically this isn't really buying anything. This is an exchange, okay? So Christmas packaging for anybody who hasn't seen it. So it's a fabric camellia. It's made out of, I think, like a nylon-y sort of material. It's a bit hard, it's a bit stiff, but it's nice. Like there's nothing flaking off of it. That's what it looks like. And then this is the ribbon. So very pretty. I'm quite happy to have the Christmas packaging this year, which is really nice. This is my receipt. Now let's take the ribbon off. And let's open. Black tissue paper, so we know this is a classic item. So let us carefully open. Here we are, white dust bag. And people have been saying that there are new dust bags out that are supposedly not as nice as the old ones. This is the old version that I have, but apparently they're more of like a cotton material. Like they're not like a soft sort of plushy feel. So I haven't seen that yet, but so far I have the previous dust bag. So I think it just depends on the boutique and, you know, what supplies they have in terms of packaging. But here you have some tissue paper, and then this is actually one of the most important things. when you have classics, you have a certificate inside with like your name and all that info. I don't think you can see it, but anyway, there's like a little insert, and then it has like the boutique stamp, and then they'll often put your name down, the date of purchase, and then also the serial number of the bag. And then with all classic flaps, you'll get like a booklet, and it has, you know, pictures of the manufacturing process and a little bit of the history of the bag. So it's nice to have that. And then as well, you've got care card, and you've got like the little buffing cloth that you can buff your bag with. So let us reveal. So it's a white classic flap. Okay, so let's take off all of the, this is like box fresh when it was shown to me. So this is all of the felt. Let's take the felt off, and let's undo the tissue paper of the strap. And we'll take off this ugly blue sticker because it's totally killing the vibe. And it's funny because some people ask, they're like, is there supposed to be like blue stickers? Does it mean it's fake? No, because they do use blue or clear stickers. I think it just depends on what their hardware it comes with. And then there's a sticker on the top. I'll do that after, but here she is. So this is their standard white. It's like an ivory color. It's not like a white. I know I'm wearing a white sweater right now. This is the medium classic flap in white. Now, if you, and I'm gonna post the Paris unboxing video before this for sure. In there, I had unboxed a small classic flap in the white. And the reason why I bought the small was because the medium was not available at all. And this is what I was thinking. We've come to a point where it is harder to get classics. Like, they're not as plentiful in stock anymore. You do have to wait for the new collection. It's been pretty good with me. Like, if I ask for a classic flap, I'm put on like a list, and then you'll get it. But when you visit a city like Paris, where that's where the original brand is from, okay? And there are a lot more boutiques, and the buying and the budget of those stores is a lot larger than it is in other parts of the world. There isn't so much of the pre-sale that happens there. They do, whenever a collection launches, everything is out on the shelf. It's not like it's pre-sold to anybody. Maybe they do a little bit here and there, but they have enough stock that they can have items on the shelf. And if you are looking for a classic bag in a classic color, most likely you'll be able to find it there, versus here, and even in the past, if you wanted a black classic flap, you really had to wait and be put on like a list, a wait list. Maybe you're lucky, right? You'll walk into the boutique and there's lots of stock, but often you kind of have to wait for it. And with Paris, it's just they have everything, right? So you're better off to find what you want there, unless you're between seasons. Like, unless you're there as the new season, like if you're waiting, like if you're a couple of days before the release date of a next collection, you're kind of at the tail end of one season, that's when you may not find stuff. But generally speaking, you'll find what you want, unless it's like a very, very hot item, you know. Then if you're like mid-season, you may not get it because it's already sold at the launch of the season. I was lucky enough to actually be there when Cruise had launched, so it was great timing. But the thing is that I was quite early when the collection launched, so some stock hadn't hit the stores, like for instance ready-to-wear items and other bags as well. Like, they weren't in yet, and they were waiting on more stock, which was a little bit strange. But I had asked for a medium classic flap in white, and the white is similar pretty much every season. It's the same color code. Yes, it could change a little bit based on the hides that are used, because it can take on pigment differently and all that. And you know, there's always going to be like a dye lot difference, production change, but generally speaking, it is the same color.
So here is the 22C white, which is a true off-white. This is taken in daylight, just with my iPhone so you can see the true color. So it isn't a stark white. 22P has a white that is more of a stark white, and I do love a stark white, but off-whites are easier to match with clothing. I'm going to compare this to my 19 bag, which is from, I believe, 20B or 20K if I'm not mistaken. And that is more of a neutral white. That isn't even a stark white either, but look at the difference in whites. I believe the color codes are always the same, but the tones can vary. A lot of people really were after this 22C white. I didn't realize, but the 22P is more of a stark white. Sometimes it is hard to match whites with other whites, of course, and it's just impossible. You're going to drive yourself crazy trying to match whites. So you would need to pair stark whites with other colors or try to find a stark white that's white enough. But I believe off-whites will match really well with a lot of my clothing.
I know it's a classic. It's not done in the classic caviar though, it's done in the seasonal caviar, so which is the soft caviar. So the grains are very fine as compared to black classic flap in the larger pebbled caviar. So I'll do a close-up shot of that. So as I've done with a previous video where I talked about edge stitching versus no edge stitching, the seasonal soft caviar bags do not have edge stitching, and some people actually like that. Lambskin doesn't have edge stitching at all, unless it's like a seasonal, like metallic sort of finish, then yes, but your classic colors, black, beige clair, other colors in lambskin will not have edge stitching. Caviar, classic caviar, meaning black, beige clair, will have edge stitching, but other seasonal caviar bags will be done in this micro soft caviar and not have edge stitching. I know it's a little bit confusing, but for anybody who's neurotic like me and wants to know those details, then I did explain in that video, and that is after consulting a really reputable expert in authentication. Her name is Zikriat, and she owns Zico Authentication, so it's a great authentication service that she's very knowledgeable. So I actually asked her and she clarified it with me, which was very nice of her. But anyway, I thought this would be a great resourceful video for anybody who is going to be shopping internationally with Paris and then may all of a sudden decide that they want to exchange their purchase when they come home. It is totally possible. You can purchase a bag, and I've done it before where there was a problem with the bag or I found a defect, and I emailed the boutique in Paris from where I purchased it, get a go-ahead from their manager, and they'll send my local boutique an email stating that I'm okay to exchange the bag, and that's how it went. This time around I didn't have to do that. I just spoke to my local boutique and they said that's fine. So the small I really liked. I tried it on, and I'll insert a photo here. I thought it did look good. I mean, I'm not a small classic flap girl, and anytime I wear a medium, people think it's the small, and because I'm not a small person. I'm not overly tall either, but I'm just bigger in stature, I guess. I don't know, but the medium, sometimes people think it's the small on me, and when I wear a small, it looks like the mini. So I prefer the medium size just in proportion. I know the small is cuter, it's more square, it's definitely a lot more popular. People are looking for the small, so people are like gonna be like, you're crazy to give up the small in white, but I prefer the medium. I feel more comfortable putting my things in the medium. If it's in a bag that's more of like a statement color, statement finish, then I can understand getting a small, like, because maybe the medium will be too overkill. I don't know. It just depends. I think I can go either way, but because I had my heart set on a medium, after I had left, I'm like, I really want the medium. So the sales associate there in Paris was like, the small looks amazing on you. I could wear it crossbody just like this one. So there was no issue there. The strap length was pretty much the same between the small and the medium classic flap.
The chain used for both the medium and the small are exactly the same length. It's just because the small, the body of the bag is slightly smaller, and so that's why you have a little bit of extra chain length on the drop, but it's not significant.
When I unboxed it, I also noticed a couple of things. First thing first, I didn't get the booklet with the certificate. I didn't get any of that with my bag, and I think what happened was because I was making a couple of purchases, and I asked for the bag not to be wrapped in a box. And I asked for a flat box because I am going to be packing it in my luggage. So what they had done was they gave me a flat box and packaged this with the tissue paper kind of all wrapped up with the receipt so that I could show customs. I just put it in my carry-on and then I could show customs. It's easily accessible and I don't have a box to contend with in my luggage. So I think with all of that, because their boxes are already fitted with the tissue paper, it's all assembled with the booklet inside, so perhaps they just forgot. So when obviously it was too late once I realized, because I unboxed it literally the night when I was packing, so couldn't, but I had the sales associate's number, so I messaged her and she said, don't worry, we can mail the booklet to you, and they did that. So I just sent her a photo of the inside plaque. So now with all of their handbags, they don't have that sticker anymore. They don't have the black authenticity card. You have this little plaque on the inside that has the serial number on it, and the plaque is not a chip. It doesn't track you. We can confirm that with everybody, but people still say that it's a chip. It's not a chip. It doesn't track you. There's no tracking technology. It's not an RFID. It's just a plaque with the number on it. That's it, plain and simple. So I sent her a photo of that, and then they were able to, like, literally I got it in like 2 days. It was like, I don't know, it was sent express, but I got the booklet with the small classic flaps number on it. But I had asked my sales associate and I said, hey, listen, I purchased a small, but now that I think about it, I want to get the medium. And they said, not a problem, like, we don't have a medium yet, we're expecting 2 to come in, but that 2 has to be allocated to the sales associate. So depending on if it's allocated to my sales associate, or they can ask if they can take the bag, because sometimes they're reserved for other clients, and then that way, then they'll let me know. So what I did was I just took my small, took it into the boutique, and I just left it there with them, and they kept it and let me know whenever it came in. And I was told a bit later that perhaps I'll wait. I'll probably get it in February with 22p. And so I was like, okay, I'm not really in a rush. And to my surprise, I got a message just a couple of days ago saying, hey, the white has come in and you can have it, and I'll just have to pay the difference. So basically I was credited the amount for the small, and then I paid the difference to get the medium. And that's how it works with an international exchange, depending on what the manager says. Most of the time they'll be able to approve it because they know, of course, you haven't used the bag. And I did it right away, like as soon as I got back, maybe a couple of days after I brought the bag with me. I didn't want to keep the bag with me because I didn't want anyone to think that I'm using the bag and here I'm dropping off like a used bag. It was literally like all the stickers, tissue paper, everything was intact. And I basically, like, even the handle was wrapped. And I left it there, and then they were really good about giving me the medium, so I paid the difference. Now let's get into the small. Okay, I noticed, and I think I mentioned in the video, so I'll insert a photo because it's hard to point it out because I don't have the small with me right now to show you. But the small, the proportions are different. It is more square. People say it is more the classic size. That's more of the original classic flap size that Coco Chanel had designed, and they really love the small size. I prefer the medium. To me, the medium feels more classic. I like the more rectangular proportions. And one thing that always bugged me about the small is the corners they were incomplete. And I'll put in a photo here and I'll circle what I'm talking about. Whereas here, the corners, you could see there's a stitch, cross stitch. Okay, that makes it a diamond. Now here, a little bit, this is a little bit incomplete, but it's okay. Okay, but here on the small, it's an open diamond, and it always threw me off. It really like it always threw me off. It always bugged me. But that's just how the small was, and that's how you recognize the small. Now, it wasn't until I watched Super Jacob's video, and Super Jacob is like a Chanel fan. Like, he is very detail oriented, and he does a lot of really great videos. So I really do recommend that you watch his videos on anything Chanel if you want some more knowledge. And he did a video, and when I watched it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. So I've also noticed on some smalls, not just this year, not last year, even, I'm talking like the year before, that some smalls didn't have that incomplete diamond, that it was stitched. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, because it actually made me feel more complete that the diamond was complete. I know this is really stupid and weird, but if anybody's wondering, okay, because sometimes we get so puzzled with these details, and the fact that there are so many replicas out there on the market, I think it can make people go crazy when, say, they're trying to buy something secondhand and they're trying to figure out what is going on. So there are a lot of replicas out there. We know that, and they're getting better and better each day. So people are a lot more cognizant about details, and a little bit more, they question a lot more, because they want to make sure that they're getting what they're supposed to be getting when they're purchasing a bag, either on the resale market and even from Chanel, because there have been some inconsistencies. And reportedly, well, I mean, I haven't experienced huge quality issues, but people have been reporting quality issues. So I can, and it's a lot of money. Like, the prices are insane. I mean, we know this already, so I don't blame people for wanting answers if things aren't lining up, no pun intended. So I asked this question because there is some inconsistency. The corners are now being completed, right? So there's like an extra stitch, and actually aesthetically, I personally like the fact that the corner is complete. It's not that open diamond. It kind of draws the eye outwards, and it just makes me a little bit more, I don't know, it just bothers me, okay? It bothers me that things aren't complete. But it also bothers me that this isn't how the small was supposed to look, because even on the website, it's an incomplete diamond. From older bags, they're all done in the same way, and now it's a bit inconsistent. So when I'm in boutique, when I'm looking at bags, when I'm looking at bags online, I sometimes will save screenshots just because I'm interested, or if I'm in the boutique, I'll take a photo to look at later, and that kind of helps me make decisions. So if I've taken a photo, and then I'll look at it later on, and if I'm still thinking about that piece, or it'll just help me with choosing future items that I'd like, because then I can compare to seasons past. And I'm looking, and I'm like, I've got photos from 2019 even, and 2020, where I've seen a small classic flap and it has complete diamonds on the corners. And I also have photos where they're not. So Jacob was even asking, well, is this like a current thing, or has this been going on for a while? Like, we don't know. And it's funny, because when I point this out to my sales associate, and when I brought my white classic flap with the completed corners, the one that I purchased in Paris, because I actually didn't even notice in boutique. And it's so funny, because I look at bags like a hawk. Like, I look at them, I look if it's straight, I look at everything, but I didn't even notice this. And I was aware of this inconsistency even buying, but I just didn't think of it, because I don't know, I think I was just in a different mindset, and I was looking for a medium, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll take the small. And I can't believe I didn't notice it, but anyway, it's not a big deal. I like the look of that complete diamond. But what Jacob was alluding to was the way that these bags are made, and he's right, that the pieces are cut first and then quilted after, and then they're stitched. It's not like you have a big hide and it's all quilted and then you cut out the pieces and then you stitch it together. And that would be like the easy way out, versus cutting the pieces for the bag. So like the front panel, this whole top panel that goes along the flap, the back pocket, and even in the booklet you'll see how it's all made. You'll have the piece and it's all pinned down and then stitched, and then the stitch will stop precisely where it has to stop. But now it seems as though they're quilting first and then cutting and then stitching it together and hoping for the best that everything lines up. So, you know, we're not sure what's happening. And the thing is like, it doesn't bother me if it was consistent, right? So if all smalls are made that way, then it's okay, right? Like they've changed the way they're doing things, that's fine. But if they're inconsistent, then it's like, okay, what is it supposed to be, right? Because like the mediums all look the same with their stitching, right? The jumbos all look the same with their stitching. The maxis all look the same with their stitching. Why is the small now inconsistent? So if you look at lambskin bags, like all the lambskin small classic flaps I've seen will have the incomplete diamond, and some caviar bags, depending on the season, will have the complete stitch. So for instance, for Cruise 22, so 22C, which is the one that was released in November, their caviar bags all had the complete diamond. But then from a season previous, like I think the one before that, the smalls didn't, so in the caviar. So there's inconsistency, and that kind of bugs me. Also, what Jacob had pointed out, and I also noticed as well, but is also inconsistent because not all of the complete... This seems really silly. But if you're like me, then you'll get it. You'll get why this is such a puzzling thing. Some caviars, the ones with the complete stitch, and some caviars with the complete stitch. Let me rephrase this. What he alluded to was the front panel should go all the way to the bottom, but some of these caviar flaps with the complete stitch on the small size, it looks as though you can see the edge of the bottom. So the way it's you can see like the bottom edge of the panel, whereas this is supposed to be flush. And you'll notice, like when you flip the bag over, that like this is more flat, like it's not sticking out. I don't know if I'm able to articulate this, but the front panel should go straight to the bottom, not be flipped, right? So you won't be able to see this panel here from the edge, okay? But in some smalls you can see that, some you can't. So that's also inconsistent. So I'm not sure what's happening with production, but let me be clear. I do like the look of the complete corner stitch. And I remember when Jacob released that video, someone had messaged me and said, "Oh my gosh, did you see that video?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And she said, "I purchased a small classic flap and it has a complete quilt on the corners, and now I'm scared that I have an inferior quality small classic flap." And I told her, I said, "Well, look at the bag, look at the panels and all that. If you're satisfied with it, like I personally do like the look of the complete quilt. But if for whatever reason there's something else about the bag that bothers you, then definitely change it and wait for another one." So I was fine with the small. I was accepting, it's fine, okay, I like that. But I, in my heart, was like, you know what, I actually really want the medium instead of the small. So that is the reason why I exchanged it. Otherwise I would have had the small in the white. And I think I do have a shot of it. I'll probably insert it. I don't think I took a face-on shot of it. I don't know why. I didn't take a photo. I think I have like a video, but I'll insert that. Now let me know what you guys think. Like, is it something that you've noticed as well? Is the... See, here's the thing. I don't care as long as it is consistent, because at the same time, when it's a classic, it should be consistent. You shouldn't have to worry about it changing every season, you know? And somebody had asked Zikriat from Zico Authentication about this, because I mean, I'm sure, like, I mean, she sees a lot of bags, she handles a lot of bags, so she must know. She must know what is going on. I asked her this and she responded, and she said I think I didn't clearly describe what was happening, so I asked her, and then somebody else had responded in the post and said, oh, I know what she means, I'm going to send you photos. And Zikriat actually responded and to this other individual and said, actually, this has been like this for a really long time. And let me see if I can find, I screenshotted the response so that you'll know what she meant. So what Zikriat said, and she said, that's not an extra stitch, it's just contentious quilts that can end at the end of the corner or before reaching the end. Even on vintage we can see that. So it seems as though it's something that is that incomplete quilt has not been a consistent thing throughout years. This is what Zico's saying, that she's even noticed it on vintage bags, that some of them have complete corners, some of them don't, and it just depends on the quilting. So if it's been like that for a while, then it's okay. And I thought that was something that, you know, I'll ask Zico again. I'll message her and I'll ask her again, because I think this is something that people, like, ever since that video went up and ever since Daka pointed it out, I've also been a little bit concerned about the smalls, I'm not gonna lie, and I think other people who have watched it have also been concerned. So I'll get a better answer and we'll do like a comparison video as well. But basically this was the whole ordeal with this bag, and the exchange was very smooth. I'm happy because this is what I wanted. I wanted the medium. Has nothing to, I mean, the stitch was something that kind of bothered me but didn't bother me, but if I wanted the small, I would have kept it. The medium is more my size. This has the champagne gold hardware. I, you know, originally always wanted the classic, like there used to be a classic white with gold hardware, like yellow gold hardware. They don't make those anymore, and now it's all this. So you know, I'm happy with it. I have a white classic flap now. I do have other white bags, so I'm quite satisfied with that collection. Maybe in the future, and I was discussing this with a friend, and she was like, do you think you'll let go of any of the white bags that you have? And maybe in the future I might let go of one. We'll see, but so far I like everything that I have, and I want to enjoy it and I want to use it, and I love whites. I think whites are amazing in the winter. Whites are great in the summertime. I love to wear a lot of white, both summer and winter, so I think this is a great addition to my collection now versus never, because apparently there's another price increase coming up in January, February. I'm hearing rumors. I don't know if it involves the classics, but it's just ridiculous at this point of how, I mean, it's always ridiculous. We won't even, let's not even say, it's been happening for so long. But I was surprised that even like sales associates, when I mentioned that incomplete quilt versus the complete quilt, and we compared in boutique, one that had it and one that didn't, and they were like, oh, that's interesting, like I never noticed that before. So maybe I'm just neurotic. Maybe people who think like us are just neurotic and we're just overanalyzing things, but you know, it is what it is, right? But anyway, I'm really gonna enjoy this, and I thought that I'd share the unboxing with you, yeah, I'm glad to have this in my collection now. So I hope this video was informative for any of you who have been wondering the same thing, and for any of you who have been wondering, well, what if I purchase something internationally and I want to exchange it? You totally can, as long as you do it within a reasonable time frame, and you will have to bear in mind that you will have to pay the difference. Perhaps there might be a saving when it comes to currency exchange, because whatever perhaps you brought it at a good currency exchange, you might save a little bit of money, but you may end up paying extra depending on the calculation. So it is something that you have to take into consideration. In this case, I pretty much evened out, so it was okay. But I can imagine if I paid a higher currency exchange, or if I paid a lower currency exchange rather, and then here I'm probably going to be paying more. So far it worked out. That's it for now, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.